We would expect this is the last tranche, but obviously we can always reconsider that. But this is a lot of money going out. That's over $600 billion putting into small businesses, which are the backbone of the economy, 50% of the private payroll.
So Stephen Mnuchin from last evening, the House expected to vote tomorrow on a nearly $500 billion aid package. The Senate passed it yesterday. Here is Nancy Pelosi's reaction on this a bit earlier today.
Mitch McConnell likes to say we delayed the bill. No, he delayed the bill. 2 weeks ago, he came to the floor and said, this is all we're doing, just the $250. And the Democrats were united, House and Senate. The Senate Democrats went to the floor and said no to that. We have a better idea.
So that was from earlier today. And with me now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to respond in kind. Senator, good afternoon to you in a very empty Washington, D.C. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, glad to be with you. I think the public's kind of bored with this back and forth, partisan back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the facts are that we tried to get relief for the small business package 12 days ago. It was, in fact, delayed by Democratic maneuvers. But look, I don't think the public's particularly interested in that. What they are interested in is what did we do yesterday? We put $310 billion in to replenish the program for small businesses, which ran out of money 12 days ago. And we also added $75 billion for hospitals. We know they're struggling. And probably even more important than that, $25 billion for testing. We've really developed kind of a Manhattan Project approach to testing because we know that even when the governors begin to open up the economy, as in my view they should begin to do, and when hospitals are allowed once again to do elective surgery, which is the only place they make any money, we can begin to get out of this malaise by bringing the economy back to life.
Yeah, I want to ask about that in a moment, but that's what she said, that she made the bill better because of the testing and the billions that are now available for hospitals. That was the point she was making in that.
Well, yeah, okay, well, we'll continue it further. She's claiming that only they were interested in hospitals and testing. That's not correct. They were. We were all interested in that. None of that was in contention. What they really wanted to do was to pass legislation to send money down to states and local governments. And what I said was, we're not going to do that. We're going to wait. We're going to take a pause. We're going to assess the future potential damage to the country by adding $2.7 trillion to the national debt. And the next time we consider shall I say, a phase 4, it'll be after all the members of the Senate are back, which at the earliest will be May the 4th.
Yeah, do you still have that? Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're not interested in revenue replacement for state governments. We're interested in trying to help them with anything related to the coronavirus. We're not interested in solving their pension problems or all these other things that they would like for us to finance.
On that point, Mayor Bill de Blasio here in New York on this program a week ago said he wants Washington to provide $7.4 billion to help New York. That's just the city now. Are you saying today that will not happen from Washington?
No, what I'm saying is we're going to take a pause here. We're going to wait at least until May the 4th, which is the time we're going to have everybody back in the Senate, and clearly weigh before we provide assistance to states and local governments who would love for us to borrow money from future generations to make sure that they have no revenue losses. Before we make that decision, we're going to weigh the impact of what we've already added to the national debt and make certain that if we provide additional assistance for state and local governments, it's only for coronavirus-related matters. We're not interested in solving their pension problems for them. We're not interested in rescuing them from bad decisions they've made in the past. We're not going to let them take advantage of this pandemic to solve a lot of problems that they created for themselves with bad decisions in the past.
I know we're pressed for time here. Let me just try and squeeze in a few more. May 4th is about 12 days away. Do you see the Senate coming back to work on the 4th of May now?
That's our current plan, yes.
Okay. With regard to the pause you mentioned there, what do you see, or how do you forecast what could be in the next bill or the next tranche of hundreds of billions of dollars?
Well, the first thing is to decide whether there needs to be another tranche. I mean, the ultimate solution to this is to get the economy back up and running. I'm encouraging our governor, for example, and he's already doing it, to begin to make steps in the direction of opening up the economy. The solution to the hospital problem is elective surgery, which is the only place they're making any money. That's a state decision. So all of us are going to be encouraging our states to begin to move in the direction of getting back to normal, bearing in mind the advice of Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, social distancing, the destigmatization of wearing a mask. Nobody should be embarrassed to wear a mask. And let's ease back in and solve the problem by getting growth back in our economy.
Just one last thing. I know we're running out of time here, but when you try and characterize how things are working so far, what word would you use to describe that? You talk to different entities across America, you get different reactions. How would you describe what the efforts have done so far out of Capitol Hill?
Well, I think we've tried to deal with a disaster, but anytime you throw $2.7 trillion out over a short period of time, there are going to be mistakes made. And so if the next time we act, we'll have the benefit of experience. You know, what did we already do? How much of it could be done better? Or do we do it at all? Bearing in mind the impact on the future of the country with mounting this kind of debt. All of that needs to be considered in a more thoughtful, more measured way before we start acting again.
Sir, thank you for your time. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell in an empty Washington, D.C. Thank you, sir.